girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or BitChute or Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform you utilize, please hit that follow and subscribe button so we can continue to bring you conversations like the one I'm bringing you today. We're catching up with Chris from the band Testament. What's going on, man?
How you doing? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. Been looking forward to it. Looks like you're enjoying some better weather than us up here in Cleveland, though, today, huh?
Yeah, we got lucky. We're in Orlando, Florida now. We just missed that crazy hurricane. So yeah, it's really nice weather right now in Orlando. But yeah, our show tomorrow in Tampa or St. Petersburg got canceled. Just they got hit really hard, unfortunately. So
yeah.
But the weather's good right now so far where I am.
Good. So usually when I have people on for the first time, I like to get a quick background. So do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah. I started playing drums like really little, so I always knew I wanted to do, something with music as like a really little kid. But I remember being like interested in going into the military and stuff like that when I was younger. But of course I just went down the full music route.
Yeah, chose a different hairstyle and everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only other thing I can really think of. But yeah, I've always because I started playing drums when I was like banging away when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I really started learning at like 6 or 7 years old. So I always just remember always wanting to be a drummer and go to school for it and stuff like that.
Nice. And then what music caught your ear at that young age that kind of influenced you going that route?
The American Idiot record by Green Day. There's this song called Jesus of Suburbia, and it has all those cool drum fills like da na 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 so as a 9-year-old, I think I was like 9 or 10 when that came out. So yeah, as a kid, that part, and I was already playing a little bit, right? So I was already playing for a couple of years. And I remember that part being like, whoa, that's crazy. So yeah, it was that record. Then and then as started getting into heavier music, I was really, really into Ozzy Osbourne with Randy Rhoads and Tommy Aldridge. Tommy Aldridge is my favorite drummer even still now. And I remember them being like my heroes growing up, that lineup with Ozzy and Rudy and Randy, Tommy, and Don Erie on keys. So that whole lineup, that, the Tribute to Randy Rhoads album, that live album with Randy, that was like my, I would be playing it nonstop. I still am listening to it constantly. So those were kind of my two records there, the tribute record and then American Idiot.
Nice. And then when was it that you started, playing out?
My first show was when I was like 13 years old with an actual band. I mean, I did like some recitals as a kid, but like with a band, I was like 13. It was like some I forget what it was for, but it was for a benefit of some charity event. But it was a band. I was in like 8th grade or 7th grade or something like that, and yeah, it was just friends from school getting together and playing. So that was like when I started playing some shows, and like that age, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, around that time frame there.
And what was the music scene like in your hometown?
In New England, it was very, very good. My first like real band, Seven Spires, which I had done for like 9-10 years. I remember when we were first starting, just when we were just playing locally and stuff. I mean, it was a really active metal scene, which was very cool, and a lot of really great musicians up in New England that I met there. A good friend of mine, Joey Conception, is now with Arch Enemy. Good friend of mine, Nick Petrino, he's playing with Dee Snider now. And there's more too, but those are some I can think of off the top of my head that I've just met in that scene growing up. So yeah, there's very, very good musicians around there, and it's right where I went to school too, in college in Boston. So very nice.
No, nice. So yeah, so then the early influence with Green Day, and then you get involved, start playing in the metal scene. What was it? When was it that you got got involved with Testament?
Just like when I first heard them, or you just mean like when I started playing with them now?
Well, yeah, like when you first started playing with them.
Okay, sorry. So what was the question then? What was it like or something? Like,
yeah. When did you get, like, how did that come together for you, and how did you get involved with Testament then?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, basically, Gene had left the band, and Eric and I kind of got hooked up. I sent him some videos of me playing the stuff, and all of a sudden Dave called and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a gig," and he was already in the band before, so they went with him for a little bit, kind of nostalgic for the fans. They could do some stuff in the Gathering. It was really, really cool. But Dave's schedule is super busy, so Eric was even just. He goes, "Hey, we're going to need you to fill in a little bit, if that's cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I filled in for them in September of 2022 for like the first third of that leg of the tour. And then Dave came back. He had some stuff with the Misfits, I think, at that time, or Mr. Bungle. And then that was his last tour. He finished that out. And then he's like, "Hey, I'm going to focus on my other projects." It was cool. It was brief return. Good, cool for the fans, very nostalgic, and then he left, and then I kind of just took over right after that. So it was kind of a long, cool process of it, because Eric and I started talking, and then Dave came back, and then it worked out good because it was like, okay, well, his schedule's busy, so we know we're going to need you to fill in anyway. So I started filling in, and then yeah, that's just what happened. So it was really, really cool.
And then you'd mentioned, Gene Hoglan leaving the band, and then, Dave comes back for a little bit. I mean, you got these two legendary drummers, and now you're coming in. What kind of what was that feeling like coming in? How much was there a lot of pressure, or, you just kind of slid right in?
I mean, there was definitely in my brain a lot of pressure, right? So. But the guy, I mean, when we started playing together, it just felt so natural and right. So it just was kind of, I don't know, it kind of just really worked right away. I feel like, of course, in my brain, I'm like, all right, cool. Make you practice. And I'm still always practicing and trying to learn and stuff. But Gene and Dave are now friends. So it's of mine now. So it's cool. It's like a cool, full circle, so we'll see them at festivals, or, recently Gene, so Death to All was playing Milwaukee, and Mr. Bungle played Milwaukee Festival, and then Testament played, so we're all in the same, room
nice.
Again. And so, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's just, it's cool to call those guys friends now, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, like, especially, I mean, playing from such a young age, and practicing all those fills from Green Day, and just like putting in all that time, and then but I mean, now to be like, looked at as a peer to some of these legends, what's that been like? So yeah, you were practicing at a young age and kind of looking up to these legends like Dave and Gene, and then coming in to fill in basically, as a fill-in originally, but now you get together with them and you're looked at as a peer. I mean, what's that feel like?
I guess it's feeling good because we're all becoming great friends. You know what I mean? So it's just like, they've been very receptive to my creative input on the new album. And, yeah, I mean, it just feels right, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. It's, the shows seem very effortless now. We're very, I think anyway, it feels like we're getting really tight, and I'm just excited that it's working out. We're all getting along, going and getting good food and, having good beer together and we have a lot of similar interests and stuff. So it's just, it's feeling right, and it's been a good, and I'm really excited for people to hear the new album as well.
And then going from learning Green Day's American Idiot to now learning legendary albums like The Legacy and The New Order and stuff. What was that like? And kind of practicing that and learning that and playing those down, but now being, like you said, now you're contributing to the new sound of Testament going forward.
It was cool learning those first two records front to back, because doing these tours as like those like the anniversary tours for them, those two records, and celebrating them, it's been cool because it's super nostalgic for the fans that grew up with them in the same, that grew up with those albums and stuff. But it's also really cool because I'm seeing a lot of people my age as well, and or in their 30s or 20s or something like that, or even kids like that are teenagers, or even little kids on their parents' back, seeing it. And so it's cool that they can also now experience these records, and it kind of get that old school Bay Area thrash style show from what it was like back when they were first starting out as well. So it's been cool for me too, because I mean I also grew up listening to a lot of these songs, so it's good to be a part of the celebration of the anniversary of these records.
Yeah, so grow up listening to them and get to be a part of the celebration and stuff, but then now actually working every day on the road with what's it been like working with Chuck Billy?
Fantastic. He's my so I have a kind of an individual relationship, I'd say, with everyone, and then when we all get together, it's really cool too. But Chuck and I love movies and like TV series and stuff like that. So especially in Europe, when we have like the double-decker bus at the end of the night, we'll go up in that back lounge, and like last tour in Europe, we watched like 3 seasons of Fargo. He was kind of getting me hooked on that. So I still got a few more seasons left. We watched The Boys together, The Reacher. There's another one too, had John Berthal in it. Oh, The Punisher. So we were watching like a bunch of series and stuff together, and we kind of nerd out about that. And it's been great. And it's been fantastic working with Chuck and Eric and Steve and Alex, everybody.
Yeah, and then speaking of all the guys, but what's it been like? I mean, not just the age difference, but coming in and being able to kind of like sit under that learning tree, so to speak.
I mean, I always learn from anybody I play music with. I think I'm always receptive to. I mean, I'm a music student, right? So I'm receptive to learning as much as I can. So writing this new record with Eric, I've learned a lot, and how he's done it for so long, and what he likes to do. But then he's also been open to my my creative input as well. And yeah, I feel like I already said that, so I don't want to be a broken record, but yeah, that's kind of what it's like. But each individual guy is I have a good relationship with. Like I said, Chuck, we watch our shows and stuff, and then Eric and I, we love splurging and getting good food, and Steve is like into a lot of the same funny stuff, so we have the same sense of humor, and Alex was also a music student, so we get to nerd out about that. And then you get us all together, and then we have our own way of hanging out all together as well. So it feels good and feels right.
Nice. And now, I mean, obviously you're building that camaraderie with the band, being now a member, but how has it been, how has the reactions been to, the fans? You say you see all ages coming to the shows, but how have you been welcomed by the fans into the fold?
So far, they've been very welcoming to me. So I feel like it's going well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then
no one's been rude yet to me, so if that's what
no
you're
rotten
asking.
fruit
But
or
yeah.
vegetables thrown at you or nothing, right?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I'm just doing my best, to keep the songs we're playing now, they're already written, right? So I'm just doing my best to honor them and respect them as the original, but also throw in some flavor and think like, okay, what would I have done if I was in this session, with Eric back then too, even just thinking about when we were writing this time. So obviously I'm not changing things, but every now and then I'll throw a little extra stuff in there, or accent a certain thing, or add a little double bass or something like that, Nice.
And then, you've been on the Clash of the Titans tour with Kreator and, Possessed. You guys came through the legendary Cleveland Agora. What was your experience like in Cleveland when you came through?
Cleveland was great. If I'm remembering correctly, it was, because all the days sometimes blend in together, being on the road. But I mean, there hasn't really been like a bad show on this tour. I mean, if I remember correctly, Cleveland was a fantastic show, fantastic crowd, and yeah, I mean, experience has been very good. So, and every time I play in Cleveland, even with when I was with Seven Spires too, it's a great place.
Yeah, the Agora's got a lot of history to it, so
yeah,
really cool to have you guys there. And that week was like just an amazing week there for metal. I think it was like you guys on Tuesday night, and then Hatebreed was on Wednesday, and then I think Thursday was like Black Dahlia Murder. It was just like,
oh yeah,
you guys were shaking the paint off the walls for sure that week.
Were you at the show?
Yeah, I ended up not making the your guys' show because I had a family thing that came up that interfered with our interview, unfortunately.
Right.
But I had my photographer there, and she got a lot of good shots of you guys playing and stuff. So, yeah, unfortunately I missed it, man. I was pretty bummed out, but
you'll see it next time when we have the new record out.
Yeah, family stuff got in the way. You know what? How it's
family first. Absolutely.
But what's it been like? Being out on the road with Kreator and Possessed so far. How's that interaction been going?
Well, cool. I mean, the Kreator guys we toured with last year too in South America, so we were already pretty familiar with each other. And then, yeah, I mean, just we all hang out when we can, when time allows. And then Possessed as well. All great dudes, really all, just amazing guys, very heavy, they're legends as well. So I grew up listening to them as well. So it's very, very cool. And they're very good guys, and they're killing it every night, Possessed and Kreator. So yeah, it's been great. And I'm excited because then we're going out with Kreator again right after this in Europe with Anthrax.
Okay. So, yeah, that was going to be my next question. After this tour wraps up, what's next on the agenda for you guys?
Yeah, we just got a couple one-off shows, and then the European tour with Kreator and Anthrax. That's the next thing there.
Nice.
And then just getting the record done, and hopefully touring that next year. It's almost done, so I'm very excited about it.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how far along you guys have been with the process, and
it would probably be done right now if we didn't have the last European tour and then this tour and then the next one after. So we only have that time in between everything to track. But my drums are done. I recorded those earlier this year. Eric and I, and of course, with Chuck and Alex and Steve, we all finished the writing, earlier this year. And then, but yeah, Eric and I were constantly getting together and working on the record very closely, the two of us, all last year too. So, yeah, that's just, it's good to finally start hearing how they'll be, like the final products, so my drums are done. Eric's rhythms are pretty much done. Chuck's almost done. Steve's pretty much done the bass. Alex just has we got solos to do. It's just kind of like the nitty gritty stuff, like the solos and harmonies and, the little details. And then of course there'll be some revisions and stuff like that, but it's getting there. So
nice.
Yeah.
And then, if you could, with everything that you've been learning on this journey and where you're at today, if there was a message you could send back to like your 12-year-old you, what would it be?
12-year-old me. I would just say for anybody, just a message for any upcoming musician, you mean? Is that the question?
Well, no, I mean, looking back at yourself, if there's anything you learned along the way, that you'd want to tell yourself, is there anything, or you just would stick to the plan as it's happened, huh?
Yeah, maybe just the things I always say for things like that is just try to be humble, be receptive to learn, have a beginner's mindset. Maybe because when I was 12 and 13 and they're on that high school, age, I was very, I guess, like music snobby, I guess. I was like, if it's not heavy, it sucks, I don't like jazz or funk, right? It has to be really heavy, only metal and blah, blah, and so I would, then as I got older, of course, I had more, I started studying jazz and all kinds of other stuff like that. So I guess maybe if I would say to my 12-year-old self is to just always keep a beginner's mindset and, be open to learning and practicing and just doing your best, so that's really all I can say for that.
Yeah. Gotcha. And then I know that we're a little short on time, but I wanted to ask you a couple of questions I normally ask my guests before we get ready to wrap up.
Yeah.
You're talking about some of the early influences, leading you on the journey, but who are your top 3 artists that you're listening to today?
Bands or drummers?
Bands.
Okay. Been listening to a lot of Obscura. You familiar with them?
No.
So Obscura, it's like technical death metal. I really like the Vortex Omnivium record, so I've been listening to that a lot. I've been listening to a lot of Necrophagist, or Phagist, the Epitaph record. And I listen to a lot of Greek music as well. So I've been listening to this Greek band called Trio Bel Canto. Very not metal, but it's, I guess it has some kind of like metal aspects to it as far as like the Greek bouzouki, the way, they shred, so, that's what I've been listening to right now. And then I've been listening to a little bit of Lorna Shore too.
Nice. And then is there a class that you feel should, being having that beginner's mindset and student for life, Is there a class that you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
A class that should be mandatory. Yeah. I know they have like economics classes, but maybe something about like preparing to, you know, do your taxes and, you know, filing and writing stuff off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like being, you know, not that the stuff you learn there isn't useful. Of course, it's all useful. It gets you to think, and you know. But I feel like having a class like that would be really cool. Which I'm sure it exists somewhere. At least when I went, I mean, I had an economics class, but it wasn't like. I mean, but also when you're that age, though, too. I mean, you're not really. It's hard to grasp some of those concepts, too. You know, so
yeah,
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, maybe something like that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's usually the number one answer I get. You know, something with
really?
finances and taxes. Whenever I
thought
ask
it was
clever. No, it's just showing what we're lacking here in the States. More, you know, getting people ready for to handle their money.
Yeah.
And then, who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
I would say my parents, of course, and then my drum teachers, specifically Dave DeCenso, James Murphy, and Steve Michaud. And yeah, I would just leave it at that because that's more than 3 people, you know. So my mentors growing up, and then my parents and stuff. I feel like that's you know, maybe some good teachers I've had at school too. But yeah, I feel like that would be my answer there.
Good. And then, what was your favorite toy as a child?
Probably. Does it have to be like a toy, or can it be like involve like electricity and stuff, like a gaming thing?
I would say a toy.
Let me think, because I do remember. I'm trying to remember. I didn't like. I used to play with a lot of these toy like cars, like wind-up cars, or what's it called? The thing. Beyblades. You ever heard of those? When you wind the thing, it's, I don't know, it just spins in a circle. And these two, they hit each other, and the last one standing. There's like arenas, like a whole rinks for them and stuff like that. I remember really liking that as a kid, you know, in like elementary school.
yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
or like Nerf guns or something like that.
Nice. And then, do you have any organizations or causes that you support and encourage others to check out?
What's it called? It's my wife donates every year for Christmas. I think it's St. Jude's or something. It's the cancer research, or cancer where kids are and stuff, like cancer treatment for kids and stuff St. like Jude's. That.
Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah, St. Jude's. Yeah, exactly. Yes. And then I mean, and then the military, of course, you know, and everything. So I would say just stuff like that, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of the military, any message you have for our members that are currently serving overseas?
Thank you for your service. Seriously. It's amazing what they do.
And then anybody that any new fans out there that might be actually one of the ones that hasn't, you know, heard of Testament yet and want to check out Testament and what you guys are doing, and you know, even, you know, follow you on your journey, where would you send them?
Probably to a show. That would be great. Experience it live.
Yeah.
But maybe for an album, I would say my like one of my favorites is the Dark Roots of Earth album. Or the latest one, the Titans of Creation one. Good places to start, of course. But or The Gathering, maybe even too. So yeah, I think Testament has a really good catalog. I think it's there's not really a bad record, I don't think. So in my opinion, of course, but yeah.
Nice.
I would say a show is a good place to start, though.
Yeah, nothing like the live experience. I mean, it's like we get all, we can jam, we can stream, any song on our earplugs, but it's like I miss the old days of either experiencing it live or putting headphones on and listening to the album, front to back,
Right.
And then, before I get ready to wrap up with you and let you go, do you mind doing me one last favor?
Sure.
And cut a promo ID for the show. Just introduce yourself, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Boondoggle, sure. Let me know when.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right. Hey everyone, this is Chris Dovas of Testament, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle podcast.
Awesome.
Was that good, or do you want me to redo it?
No, that was perfect. Perfect, Chris. No, thank you, man. Thank you for your time, man. And glad we were able to make this happen. And looking forward to the next album. And
we'll have to do this. We'll have to do this again once it's released or something.
Yeah, for sure, man. For
All
sure.
right.
All right. Thanks
for having
me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Asked some good questions, so it was a good time.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Take care.